Hello, what's this? Why, unless I'm very much mistaken, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas with this year's Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. What a fantastically festive scene! With all these shady characters surrounding a car in a deserted car park, and the dog waiting patiently outside whilst the adults steam up the windows, I'll let you guess what's going on here. Suffice to say, it won't only be Christmas crackers getting pulled, or turkeys getting stuffed. Lol. Steve Phil Mitchell McFadden storms off in disgust. Don't blame you, mate. Looks like this motor came off Frank Butcher's car lot after he torched it. I wouldn't serve this bunch of wrong-uns in the Queen Vic either. What a motley menagerie of mucky miscreants. There's the pig-pestering previous PM David Cameron, and… hold on. What's our Scylla doing on the back seat with Farage? Surprise, surprise, indeed. I think it's best you step outside, love, on this occasion. Bozo Johnson looks keen to get stuck into some more technology lessons. He's eager to get some extra RAM for his dongle. Ugh. Obviously, this isn't the actual Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. It's the excellent artwork he's created for the front of it, so we'll just have to wait until December for the proper daily reveals to see who's behind its doors. And of course, you can see for yourself, as the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar is available to order now. Best get in there quick, or you'll be disappointed, as it's bound to sell like hot mince pies. Ta-ta and farewell. See you in December. Starting tomorrow, would you believe, with me, Joe Gooch, and Cold War Steve, Advent Calendar doors opened, one by one. So tune in each day to join in the fun. Yes, we'll open an Advent Calendar door each day on Twitter. Hope you enjoy it like last year and don't think that it's shitter. But if you find you don't like one, please don't go away. There'll be another you hopefully do like the following day. Not with chocolate but with lols. We aim to be spoiling you like the Ferrero Rocher ambassador. So join us from tomorrow as we begin the door openings of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Who's behind door number 1 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's former BBC Sports and Current Affairs and Breakfast Time presenter Frank Boff. Known for his comfortable jumpers and easy-going presenting style, the nation was shocked when in 1988 it was revealed that our Frank was Boff by name and Boff by nature, when he was exposed as having current affairs of his own and being a regular visitor to sex and drug vice dens, where he used to snort cocaine and indulge in sports of a XXX rated nature whilst dressed in women's lingerie. After shocking sex and drugs revelations like that, there was only one thing BBC Breakfast bonking Boff could do. That's right. He joined ITV. And in fact, appeared alongside our Scylla on Scylla's Goodbye 88. Frank was probably only too pleased to say goodbye to 88 after being caught drugged up, dressed up, and indulging in 69s. Lol. Happy to put his previous perversions permanently in the past, Boff became a presenter on ITV's 6 o'clock Live. That was until 1992, when it became more like Sex-O-Cock Live, when Frank was exposed once again getting up to his old dirty tricks. This time at an S&M prostitution den. After more sex and drugs revelations like that, there was only one thing bondage-bonking Boff could do. That's right, he joined Sky TV. Frank Boff has now retired from television presenting, but has he also retired from naughty nocturnal knocking shop shenanigans? We may never know. Who's behind door number 2 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's former reality TV star and television presenter Jeff Brazier, presenting a postcode lottery oversized check to grateful recipient Harold Shipman. Shipman looks like his boat has come in this happy scene of good fortune. Though, of course, our Harold was himself the giver of severe physical misfortune, being as he was one of the UK's most prolific serial killers. Ironically, Shipman was portrayed by When the Boat Comes In star James Bolam in an ITV dramatisation of the dastardly deadly deeds of the dangerously devious devilish Dr. Death. With his smiling face and white beard, this Father Christmas lookalike is certainly someone you wouldn't want to find creeping down your chimney and entering your home as you slept on Christmas Eve, as you'd most likely wake up dead on Christmas morning. Though with his boyish good looks, Brazier, not Shipman, I'm sure many of his fans, Braziers, not Shipmans, would be only too pleased to find him dressed as Santa, Brazier, not Shipman, standing next to their fireplace on Christmas Eve. Currently writing a weekly column for the Daily Mirror, not Shipman, Brazier, he appears regularly on ITV's This Morning, Brazier, not Shipman, and has also starred in several Christmas pantos, not Shipman, Brazier, and appears in television adverts for the Postcode Lottery, Brazier, not Shipman. He died in prison hanging himself in his cell, not Brazier, Shipman. I doubt the Postcode Lottery would sell as many tickets if they had a television campaign featuring Harold Shipman, though I wouldn't rule it out. We could be seeing a computer-generated Harold Shipman wearing a red coat, knocking on people's doors saying something like, "As one of the UK's most prolific serial killers, I'm thought to have upwards of 250 victims. That's a large number, but not as large as the Postcode Lottery jackpot. Watch out, Jeff. You could have a CGI'd Harold Shipman after your job, making your Postcode Lottery gig the latest victim of UK's Dr. Death." Who's behind door number 3 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's ex-EastEnders star and TV presenter Joe Swash. Swash's first acting role was in an advert for shit-shifting arsewipe toilet paper. No, not The Sun, but Andrex. Rather than be wished good luck, it's common for actors to be told to break a leg before they perform. But that's the last thing Swash is going to want to be wished, as he's starring in this year's Dancing on Ice, where breaking a leg could easily become a horrifying reality. If Swash did break his leg, his ice dancing days would be over in a bone-cracking bloody flash. Apart from intense pain, a fractured bone in the leg would leave Swash limping on a swollen, misshapen limb that, in a worst-case scenario, could even have the fractured bone itself poking visibly out of the skin, causing lightheadedness and nausea, making Swash pull a facial expression similar to the one depicted in this photo. I hope Joe hasn't eaten an expensive lunch at a fancy restaurant before getting on the ice, because if he did throw up at this point, his dance partner would see Swash awash with posh nosh down his Macintosh. If he was wearing such clothing whilst dancing on ice, of course, which may explain the accident. There would also be a real danger that Swash could go into shock, at which point his fellow Dancing on Ice stars should gently lie him down and carefully rest Swash's leg above the level of his heart to improve blood flow. Despite the coldness of being on ice, it is vital that Swash should be kept as warm as possible until medical assistance arrives. When it does arrive, Swash's leg will be placed in a splint to prevent further damage, and he'll be given painkillers, either in a tablet form, via injection, or possibly a face mask administering a pain-killing gas. Once at a hospital or other medical facility, an X-ray will then be performed to assess the severity of Swash's leg bone fracture. If the broken bone is still in position, Swash's leg will be encased in a plaster cast to hold it in position until it heals. If, as feared, the worst-case scenario occurs and Swash's fractured leg bones are misaligned, he would need heavy sedation and possibly general anaesthetic for an operation where a doctor or surgeon will realign the fractured bones, which may entail the bones being fixed with metal wire, pins, screws, or plates. A severe fracture would take 3 to 6 months to heal, which for Swash would beg the question, will he be starring in pantomime this year? Oh no, he won't, unless it's in Treasure Island, as Long John Silver. Lol. Any screws, pins or plates would be permanent, leaving Swash to deal with lifelong airport metal detector hassles every time he flies to the jungle, or goes on a family holiday with X-Factor warbling wife, Stacey Solomon. Let's all make a Christmas wish that Swash will be spared such holiday horrors, and that his stint dancing on ice doesn't end with him hobbling on crutches. Merry Christmas, Joe. Who's behind door number 4 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's Birds of a Feather actress and Loose Women star, Linda Robson. On the ITV lunchtime show Loose Women, Robson revealed a rather unfortunate incident she had on a Manchester to London train. Our Linda was travelling back to London after filming in Manchester. As the train entered the final stage of its journey, Linda decided to make use of the onboard lavatory facilities. She went in, closed the electric-powered door, pulled down her trousers and lady pants, and readied herself for a much-needed session of urination. Robson was happily in midstream, when suddenly the door alert sounded, with a recorded voice saying, "The toilet door is not locked," at which point our Linda leapt up, still mid-flow, sending a sprinkler-like jet of wee all over the floor, and pushed the door button to lock it. Unfortunately for our Linda, there followed an event of misfortune, or if you will, pissfortune, as instead of locking the door, Linda pushed the button that opened the door, revealing a rather surprised-looking ticket inspector standing right outside, who got to inspect probably more than he would have wanted. Being as he was, confronted with the sight of Linda Robson, knickers round her ankles, pissing like an ostrich all over the train toilet floor, as if committing some kind of public transport, toilet-based dirty protest. Linda took her mishap, or if you will, pisshap, in good spirits, and roared with laughter, which must have added a rather surreal edge to the already shocking celebrity lavatory catastrophe that confronted the poor unsuspecting ticket inspector. I expect the ticket inspector's Linda Lou liaison is an experience that will stay with them for many years to come. Which celebrity would you like to catch mid-flow, urinating all over the train toilet floor, if you were a ticket inspector? Why not tweet your answer to Loose Women and let them know? They may make it a regular feature. Who's behind door number 5 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's a ceramic Shire horse. Oh good. A rich seam to mine for some comedy gold here. Yay. Thanks, Cold War Steve. Well, it's certainly a stylish ceramic Shire horse that would grace any windowsill or sideboard. Maybe Cold War Steve is hinting that this is what he would like for Christmas. Let's all buy him one. Probably not, though. He could just go into any charity shop at random and be guaranteed to find at least 12 of them on their shelf. I just did a Google search for ceramic Shire horse to see if there had been any ceramic Shire horse related news recently. And would you believe it? There was. Apparently in 2009, there was a murder committed using a ceramic Shire horse as the weapon. But upon reading the details of the case, unfortunately it was a rather sad and tragic tale that doesn't lend itself for use as comedic material. Oh good. Oh, this is going well. Sorry about this. Normal service will be resumed tomorrow, I hope, unless the next Advent calendar window reveals a glass fish, a Charles and Diana commemorative plate, or that picture of the crying boy or something. That crying boy picture, you know the one. It's a print of a painting of a young boy with a tear running down his cheek. That, for some reason, was hugely popular in the 60s and 70s. Well, it was often discovered intact and undamaged in the ruins of house fires, which led to a belief that the pictures were cursed. I'm not aware of any ceramic Shire horse curse, other than the one I'm experiencing here, trying to find something humorous to say about it. Oh well, time's up. Thank fuck. Who's behind door number 6 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's MasterChef presenter Greg Wallace. By the looks of it, Wallace has been getting curtsy lessons from Theresa May. Talking of Theresa May, like Wallace, May can be booked as an after-dinner speaker. Yes, really. Can you imagine booking Theresa May as a motivational and inspirational speaker? If I saw her take to the podium after I'd finished my dinner, the only thing May would inspire in me would be the regurgitation of that dinner as projectile vomit, preferably in her direction. I'm sure MasterChef Wallace has never made anyone projectile vomit with his cooking or after-dinner speeches, though I can do without seeing him performing lunges in his pants and slip-on trainers. Wallace is such a fan of wedding cake that so far he's been married 4 times, and the wedding cake sell-by date has often been longer than the marriages have lasted. When his 3rd marriage ended after being wed in 2010, far from giving up and saying never again, Greg showed he's not bitter or a wedding day quitter when he found his next wife, whilst tweeting on Twitter. Our egghead Greg went down on one leg, and Wallace took solace, not later, but sooner, in the arms of his new wife, 21 years his junior. Well, I never thought I'd be cooking up a poem about Greg Wallace's love life. I think my career may have just peaked, like one of Wallace's meringues. Who's behind door number 7 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's TV presenter Ross King holding aloft a Christmas tree-patterned processed ham. That has to be artificially coloured, doesn't it? The ham, I mean, not King's coiffured locks. Though, to be honest, his bouffant barnet does have more than a hint of the old Paul McCartney aubergine rinse about it. As well as presenting, King has appeared in several Hollywood blockbuster movies and starred alongside Steven Seagal in the 2002 movie Half Past Dead. Half Past Dead took a staggering $19 million at the box office worldwide, though its budget was only, $25 million. King later appeared in the 2007 smash hit comedy Who's Your Caddy? No, me neither. Which took a bank-busting $5 million worldwide, though its budget was a trifling $7 million. Recently, whilst reporting live from Las Vegas for The Lorraine Show, Ross was video bombed by a mobile advertising truck passing behind him on camera, showing a large billboard containing naked ladies, advertising a dial-a-bonk Las Vegas prostitute service that delivers sex workers directly to your room. I wonder which company delivers them. Hopefully, Deliveroo, rather than My Herpes. Lol. Whilst Ross King delivered his report to camera, viewers were shocked at the naked breasts in the background, whilst seemingly oblivious to the massive cock directly in front of camera. No offence, Ross. Who's behind door number 8 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's someone using a plastic long-handled shoehorn for I need to shoehorn some lols into this video, that's for sure. Maybe this picture is actually a cryptic clue, like the ones they used to have on the TV game show. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2... Oh, you know the one. It was hosted by a British comedian with the best name I've come across to be spoonerised. Ted Rogers. So the picture clue is a shoehorn. What's the clue on the envelope? Pass the shoehorn, Phil. It's too hot for peas. Pass the shoehorn, Phil. It's too hot for peas. Right, pass the. Put that together, you get pasta. Too hot for peas. Peas, when said quickly, sounds like peace. So we have pasta, peace. Too hot for some is often too cold for others. So we've got cold, pasta, peace. When you cook pasta, you drain the water off in a colander. Peace, cold, colander. The opposite of peace is, of course, war. Colander sounds like calendar. Pass the shoehorn, Phil. Phil Mitchell on EastEnders is, of course, played by Steve McFadden. Put it all together, that's right. It's the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. That was literally the sort of clue they used to have on 321. It'd be easier to crack the Enigma code than try and work out what prize you'd won on 321 based on their clues. Remember that song, Horny, from the late 1990s? I just looked it up on the internet to see if there were any humorous anecdotes or indeed any lols to be found relating to that song. There wasn't. Soz. Who's behind door number 9 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's Nigel Farage being attacked by some naked mole rats. Known for eating their own feces, the mole rats, that is, though I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Farage was a frequent feces feaster, seeing as how much crap comes out of his mouth. Mole rats' main predators are snakes, so they'd better keep their wits about them, being in such close proximity to the reprehensible, repugnant, revolting, rotten, repellent, ridiculous, racist, reptilian reprobate. Known for their inbreeding, the mole rats, that is, though Farage is so keen on keeping outsiders away that I wouldn't be surprised to find out the bigoted Brexit bellend's offspring were also his siblings, cousins, and grandparents. Lol. As I say, mole rats are keen caca consumers. Similarly, Farage, who couldn't be further up Donald Trump's tradesman's entrance if he was performing a colonoscopy, must have come away with more than a kernel of sweet corn between his teeth, being as he is Such an enthusiastic participant in a ghastly, gut-wrenching gammon human centipede, with Donald Trump at its horrific, hideous helm. I'm sorry to paint this putrid picture of a feverish Farage furiously foraging up Donald Trump's plump rump, especially at this time of year, as I don't know about you, but it certainly puts me off enjoying a nice festive Yule log. It wouldn't deter Nige, who would clearly love to have mole rat-like teeth to gain extra purchase plundering the president's posterior when battling over first dibs on Donald's derriere, alongside ringside ringpiece competitors Boris Johnson and Piers Morgan. Ugh. Merry Christmas. Who's behind? Door number 10 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, it's Jamaican reggae duo Chakademus and Pliers. Personally, I don't own any albums or singles by the popular reggae duo, but I do own several pairs of pliers of different types, such as lineman's pliers, slip joint pliers, diagonal pliers, and needle nose pliers, to name but 4. I'm sure we would all like to shake the hand of whoever invented the humble pliers, so long as they weren't actually holding a pair of pliers in their hand at the time, as you may end up having the skin between your thumb and index finger squashed, or, in a worst-case scenario, cut, depending on what type of pliers they are holding at the time, and whether they're just being clumsy, intentionally unpleasant, or perhaps just mucking about, with the cuff of their jumper pulled down concealing their hand, leaving just the pliers protruding, and pretending that they were a robot. This would of course be accompanied by them having both their arms bent at a 90-degree angle and being moved jerkily up and down in turn, whilst possibly also moving their body from left to right at the waist. Often people accompany these physical actions by actually saying the phrase, "I am a robot," in a cliched robotic-style voice, which demonstrates not only a lack of faith in their own ability to successfully pull off such an impersonation, but also shows a distinct lack of commitment, because they announce exactly what they are pretending to be, whilst in the process of pretending to be it, rather than actually making the effort to achieve a convincing impression of a humanoid machine. Chakademus and Pliers' most famous song was Murder, She Wrote, which had nothing to do with the popular television detective series of the same name. Who's behind? Door number 11 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, it's J.K. from Jamiroquai! The Stevie Wonder wannabe, known for jumping about on stage in a big silly hat, is depicted in less happier times here, after previously punching a paparazzi in a moment of virtual insanity. Kay must have wished he could have run away and hidden deeper underground when the self-styled space cowboy got a return he could well have done without, as the photographer later caught up with Kay and unleashed some canned heat of his own, and furiously flung his forehead into the funkster's face, demonstrating to Jay that a headbutt feels just like it should, causing Kay to scream out that he was too young to die, and leaving the pint-sized pop star feeling half the man he was before, which was little over 5 foot in the first place. Lol. Known for purchasing expensive exotic sports cars, presumably to make up for inadequacies in other areas, JK called himself the Cat in the Hat, but, due to his obnoxious behaviour, was often referred to as the Twat in the Hat. But that title surely has a serious contender in the form of U2 frontman Bono Vox, who not only had one of his silly hats flown in a first-class seat across the world so he could wear it at a gig, but also sued his ex-stylist for trying to sell at an auction one of his Stetson hats, despite the fact his ex-stylist had the hat in her possession for almost 20 years. The multi-millionaire tax-avoiding tosscock won the lawsuit, which meant he got his silly little hat back, and his ex-stylist was left financially destitute. Personally, I would be only too pleased to give Bono his hat back. I'd roll it up and stick it right up his ass. Who's behind? Door number 12 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, it's a man and a lady in bed. Probably post-coitus. By the looks of it, the man has long since passed the stage of sexual satisfaction and is now experiencing an emotional post-coital cocktail of guilt, regret, shame, and self-loathing, whilst the woman, judging by her body language and facial expression, has clearly not been fully sexually satisfied and appears to be craving a further session of sexual intercourse, nookie, bonking, rogering, rumpy-pumpy, fornication, or whichever term you prefer to use when describing the act of vaginal penetrative sex. The man, head turned away, is evidently not so keen on the idea of further lovemaking, which leads me to believe he is most probably an inconsiderate lover, more concerned with his own sexual gratification than that of his partner, which can only lead to relationship difficulties, and, if unresolved, will result in the predictable termination of that relationship due to the woman having an affair with Kevin from accounts at her workplace. Of course, it is possible I may have misread this situation, and the act of sexual intercourse may not yet have taken place. The clue as to what may have caused the apparent scene of emotional disharmony depicted in this picture may be in the lower part of the photo in the form of the prominent thumbnail on the lady's right hand. During the act of foreplay, her long and sharp-looking thumbnail may have scratched the gentleman in a particularly sensitive area, causing intense pain, and possibly drawing blood, and putting a sudden end to the gentleman's state of sexual arousal, which would explain his uninterested, irritated, and emotionally distant facial expression. Oh, I've just found out that this picture is apparently Dev and Deirdre from Coronation Street. I wouldn't know. I don't watch it. Who's behind? Door number 13 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, well, I'll be honest, it's not what I thought it was going to be, and I've got my days mixed up. Maybe no one will be watching this video anyway, due to it being the day after the general election, and we're all either celebrating or in the pits of despair. Anyway, so who have we got here then? It appears to be radio DJ Tommy Boyd having his budgie smugglers checked by the happy little chap Kim Jong-un. Careful where you put your hand, mate, or you'll be Kim Dong-un. Oh, apparently it's Trevor Francis and Graham Souness. Remember Stu Francis? Whatever happened to him? He used to be on Crackerjack with his popular catchphrase, "Ooh, I could crush a grape," but I haven't seen him on TV since the 80s. He actually had a single out in 1983 called "Ooh, I Could Crush a Grape." Surely, going by his catchphrase, he should have brought out his own wine. Apparently, they're bringing back Crackerjack, and Stu Francis actually said in a recent interview he hopes the new presenters don't steal his catchphrase, "Ooh, I could crush a grape." Yes, really. He pretty much said, "I'm known for my catchphrase, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape,' and would not like to see the new presenters use my catchphrase, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape.' I don't own the copyright on the catchphrase, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape' as such, but I'd hope the new presenters have more going for them than having to steal my catchphrase, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape.' I wouldn't go on stage and say 'nice to see you nice.' I'd say, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape,' because my catchphrase is, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape,' and I'm known for my catchphrase, 'Ooh, I could crush a grape.' And my fans would be upset if I came on stage and didn't say, "Ooh, I could crush a grape." Asked if he was annoyed not to be invited to host the reboot of Crackerjack, Stu Francis replied, of course, "Ooh, I'm fucking livid." Who's behind door number 14 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's TV presenter Matt Baker beside a beautiful British barn owl. Matt can regularly be seen on our television screens being pleasant on shows like Country File and The One Show. To be honest, I'd rather have the ceramic Shire horse or the plastic long-handled shoehorn. I mean, what can you say about Matt Baker? He's like Ben Fogle, but with brown hair. He's as nice as a nice biscuit. Or is it pronounced niece? I bet Baker, who used to be a presenter on Blue Peter, is particularly partial to a biscuit. In fact, I bet a British bourbon biscuit is beloved by Baker. By being named Baker, I could well believe Baker baked bourbon biscuits brilliantly before being a presenter on Blue Peter. Oh, by the way, if you hear a squeaking sound on this video, it's probably the bottom of the biscuit barrel being scraped, as I try and get 2 minutes and 20 seconds worth of comedic material out of this picture of Matt Baker and a barn owl. It's not a photo I'd choose to put in an owlbum, that's for sure. I offered a barn owl one of my biscuits once. I thought it was being greedy when it said it wanted to eat two. That worked better on the page, to be honest. Barn owls hunt their prey using their exceptional sense of hearing. It's just one of their many talons. This picture could be promoting the new series of Doctor Hoot. Time's up, you'll be relieved to hear. You know what they say. Owl good things come to an end. Who's behind door number 15 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's Howard and Marina from calamitous codger comedy Last of the Summer Wine. Yes, it's that priapic pensioner Howard, who was kind of like an OAP Robin Asquith, pictured here with his bit on the side, peroxide blonde mistress, Marina. Although Howard had a wife called Pearl, he was clearly keener on Marina. Judging by what's going on in this picture, it appears Marina has got a ladder in her tights. Maybe Howard and Marina are on their way to get married in a Mormon church, or as it's also known, the Church of Latter-day Saints. Don't worry, there's only 9 more of these videos to go. Always trying to slope off for a bit of slap and tickle and how's your father, the septuagenarian sex maniacs couldn't wait to find somewhere secret for some saucy shenanigans, away from henpecked Howard's missus, though apparently they never got to actually indulge in full sexual intercourse, despite Howard trying to get his leg over for almost 25 years. I'm not sure if BBC Sunday evening viewers would have been ready for an explicit hardcore pensioner porno just after tea time and the Antiques Roadshow, so it's probably just as well. Mind you, they could have shown it on Channel 4 as a Time Team special, as it wouldn't be so much a porno, but more like a human archaeological dig. Sorry about that. Anyway, don't let this video put you off watching tomorrow's, as I've got something a little different up my sleeve, which I hope you'll like. See you tomorrow. I hope. Who's behind door number 16 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, it's... oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Hold on. DJ, give me that beat. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy.
Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage
Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy. Oh joy, it's a Savaloy.
Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage
Breakdown.
Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage Savaloy sausage
With a portion of chips.
Savaloy sausage
Not for me, thanks. I'm vegetarian. Who's behind? Door number 17 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. 'Twas a few nights before Christmas. I awoke from an uneasy slumber to an intense pounding. Boom, boom, boom. Wearily, I opened my eyes and slowly raised my aching body to a more upright position. Boom, 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 it continued. I peered at my alarm clock. It was 3:30 a.m. I climbed out of bed, put on my dressing gown and slippers, and walked towards the bedroom window. Boom, boom, boom. The house shook with each beat. I turned away from the window. The sound was coming from downstairs. Slowly, I opened my bedroom door, walked out onto the landing, and stood at the top of the stairs. Boom, boom, boom. I froze in fear as I realized this intense, terrible pounding was coming from my front door. Who could it be? Pounding, pounding, pounding at my door at this ungodly hour. Terrified, and against my better judgment, I descended the stairs, as if walking to my own certain doom. Boom, boom, boom. Again they struck the door. Shaking, I approached the front door, concealed behind a long vermilion velvet curtain. My hand trembled as I slid the curtain back, not knowing what I might find. The curtain revealed the small square window in my English oak front door. My blood turned icy cold as the face at the window stared deep into my eyes and into my very soul. It was Ed Miliband, the ghost of Labour leaders past, come to warn me, to warn us all of the horrors to come. Who's behind? Door number 18 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. Why, it's former pop star and Bognor Butlin's botherer, Dane Bowers. Bowers, pictured here with flowers, sings when he showers, and of course Bowers prefers power showers to non-power showers, scared of spiders if he sees one when he showers. Bowers cowers, down-to-earth Bowers, don't live in no ivory towers. He grows his own food, especially cauliflowers, and Bowers makes his own wine using elderflowers, which is very time-consuming, meaning that often Bowers is up to all hours making wine from elderflowers. Dane prefers to travel by train because, like Mr. T, Dane won't get on no plane. A favourite quiche for Dane is quiche Lorraine. In fact, for quiche Lorraine, Dane goes insane, washing it down with a glass of champagne. No bird brain, Dane won't need you to mansplain, because in his brain information and facts he can easily retain without causing Dane much mental strain. Dane lives in neither Spain, Ukraine or Bahrain, but in Dubai, located in the United Arab Emirates, which doesn't rhyme, but is factually accurate. These rhymes are all well and good, but I can't compete with Bowers when it comes to lyrical prowess, who, with his band Another Level, sang in the 1998 hit song Bomb Diggy. You know it's the bomb diggy diggy, bomb diggy. Can I get some of your bomb diggy? Jello goody chocolate puddy. Want to get a little bit of your goody? Oh, goody. Profoundly moving, and indeed takes the lyrical arts to another level, indeed. Praise be, it's a Christmas miracle. Dane Bowers is now singing with a new band called Boys on the Block. Boys, spelt with a Z, of course, keeping it street and real. Dane Bowers is now 40 years old. Who's behind door number 19 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's 1980s Top of the Poppers pop performers, Johnny Hates Jazz. Ironically, not only are none of the members of pop combo Johnny Hates Jazz actually named Jonathan, they were signed to record label Virgin after a performance at Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club. Surely this kind of hoodwinking of the record-buying public should not have been allowed, and to continue unchallenged for so long. Also, in the 1980s, we overlooked the fact that the Thompson twins comprised of 3 members, none of them offspring from the same pregnancy, or even named Thompson. At least the Thompson twins, no doubt due to the guilt of perpetrating such heinous pop pretense and tuneful treachery, attempted to redeem themselves by changing their name to Babel. Yes, really, in the early 1990s. And yet Johnny Hates Jazz, bold as brass, continue their deceit to this day, and not only have been brazenly touring this past year, but also have the barefaced audacity to plan the release of a new album in 2020. Where are the protests? Where is the media outcry? It's this kind of apathy in the face of such blatant deception that has not only led to the election of Donald Trump in the US, but also the election of Bozo Johnson in the UK. After the last UK election result, I think we were all lamenting our shattered dreams, and wish that we could turn back the clock. It's time Johnny Hates Jazz put their hands up, acknowledge their musical misrepresentation, apologise for the fraudulence they've inflicted on their fans and the public at large, so we can as a nation begin the process of forgiveness and healing, and hopefully move on to a better, more truthful world. Who's behind door number 20 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's Michael Barrymore hoping to strike snivelling little pob-faced worm Michael Gove lucky with a sausage dangled from a drone. It doesn't get much more festive than that. What with door number 16, and now this one, the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar is becoming a bit of a sausage fest. If processed meat products worked to repel Tories, we should have used them in the last election. And maybe Labour should elect Bernard Matthews as their next leader. No, hold on. Bernard Matthews was a poultry farmer, wasn't he? He's also sadly no longer with us. Maybe the election result would have been different if the ghost of Bernard Matthews had returned to warn turkeys not to vote for Christmas. I wonder if the ghosts of all the chickens and turkeys Bernard Matthews slaughtered over the years ever came back to haunt him. I haven't heard of his farm ever reporting any poultrygeist activity. If one of his farm workers became possessed by a demonic chicken spirit, they may come out with some foul language and say something like, "Your mother hen plucks cocks in hell." If so, what'll they cock-a-doodle-do about it? Why, they may need to have an exorcism. Anyway, I hope Feather Christmas brings you something nice this year, and you'll be glad to hear this video has come to an end. Thank Cluck for that. Who's behind door number 21 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's former Lib Dem leader Tim Farron, looking absolutely devastated as he holds a bottle of milk. Poor Tim looks utterly inconsolable here, realising he lactose qualities to be a successful political leader. After his career turned sour and evaporated when his bid to become Prime Minister fell at the last curdle. He could have stayed on and milked his time as Lib Dem leader, but what would be the pint? Farron was criticised for voting against the Equality Act. Some said, "How dare he?" and "Edam, well shouldn't have." Farron received many letters of protest. He didn't read all of them from beginning to end, semi-skimmed. Farron's a big fan of writer Dostoevsky, especially his book Cream and Punishment. Not the whole book, he prefers the condensed version. Farron is an avid fan of soap operas, especially Carnation Street and Cheese Stenders. That's when he's not watching his favourite game show, Moo Wants to Be a Milkionaire. Tim has several favourite films, including Apocalypse Cow, The Sound of Music, Ghost Butters, Mutiny on the Bounty. Well, you get the idea. These videos don't seem to last long, do they? No sooner have you started watching, than before you know it, it's whizzed past your eyes. Who's behind door number 22 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi suckling a lamb, pictured here doing his best Clarice Starling impression from Silence of the Lambs, though really he's more of a Hannibal Lecter. You still wake up sometimes, don't you, Silvio? You wake up in the dark and hear the screaming of the lambs, and you think if you dye your hair you could make them stop, don't you? You think if you could hang on to a scrap of youthfulness, you won't wake up in the dark ever again, to that awful screaming of the lambs. No wonder Berlusconi is looking a bit sheepish in this picture. Wouldn't you, if you were still dyeing your hair in your 80s? For flock's sake, he's not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes with that Barnett. He must go to the same barbers as Andrew Neil. I'd better come up with some better lols for this video, or there'll be hell to pay. I just hope I'm making you laugh. If I can't deliver the comedy goods, people will wonder what's come over me. After seeing who was behind today's door, I had to make this video quickly. I didn't have much time to mull it over. I bet Berlusconi is looking forward to the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, though probably not as much as he enjoyed The Living Highlights and On Hair Majesty's Secret Service, Bald Finger, License to Curl, or From Brussia with Love. Hopefully after all these hair puns, and James Bond puns, you'll think of me as Rapunzel, or even the man with the golden pun. Anyway, I think I've subjected you to enough punishment for one day. See you tomorrow as I open another Cold War Steve Advent Calendar door. Who's behind door number 23 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's former goalkeeper for Chelsea and Stoke City, Ed de Goey. I mean, he's a footballer who had a long career and was good in goal. That was it. In fact, sorry Ed, no offence, but I'm showing you the red card. Or should that be the Rod card? Because it's Maggie May and Do You Think I'm Sexy singer, Rod Stewart. The I Am Sailing singer is not a fan of model boats as you'd expect, but is in fact a model railway enthusiast, having just spent 23 years building an elaborate model of a 1945 American railway. Perhaps he should release a new version of his song called I Am Railing, which, if it hasn't been used as the headline in a news story about Rod's train building, would surely be a crime against journalism. The I Was Only Joking singer faced a huge backlash on Twitter recently when he appeared to not be joking when he seemed to endorse lying racist homophobic Donald Trump wannabe serial philanderer Boris Johnson by tweeting his thanks to fans for getting his new album to #1 in the charts and ending the tweet saying, "Well done, Boris. This may not be the Bozo Johnson endorsement it seems, as Rod could in fact be belatedly congratulating Boris Yeltsin for being elected first president of the Russian Federation in 1991. Either that, or he's given his fans reason to believe he votes Conservative and will soon be singing Have I Told You Lately, I'm a Massive Tory, and dedicating Maggie May to Thatcher and Theresa. If so, maybe Rod may next want to make a UK model railway featuring food banks, homeless people and 4 million children living in poverty. The first cut is the deepest, but Tory cuts are the worst, Rod. Who's behind door number 24 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a look. Why, it's TV chef Rusty Lee, known for her raucous laugh, Caribbean cooking, and standing as a UKIP candidate in the 2005 general election. Oh dear. Rusty has rarely been off our television screens. They say Rust never sleeps, but that's not the case for our Rusty, as she needs at least 8 hours sleep a night, or she becomes highly irritable the following day. But what should you do if you notice a build-up of rust on your bathroom radiator this Christmas? Well, don't repeat the mistake of getting your brother-in-law Keith to have a look at it, even if he assures you he knows what he's doing, and then proceeds to knacker your whole central heating system, meaning you are without heating and hot water over Christmas, so you have to sit huddled by the 2-bar electric fire in the front room wearing 2 jumpers and a coat to keep warm, and have to ask Sue and Ian down the road if you can use their shower. For example. If you are concerned about opinionated Christmas visitors attempting to embarrass you with snidey comments about your rusty bathroom radiator over Christmas dinner, you may want to consider a quick fix of just painting straight over the affected area with a suitable paint to diffuse the situation before it starts, and then removing the rust properly at a more convenient time, such as the days between Christmas and the New Year. If the rust is only on the bottom of the radiator, the chances are it's been caused by condensation in the bathroom, resulting in the buildup of moisture on the outside of the radiator over time, and causing the formation of hydrated ferric oxide. In this case, clean the affected area with a medium-grade sandpaper and a wire brush. Then apply 3 coats of a water-based gloss, satin, or emulsion paint. However, if the rust is coming from inside the radiator, it will eventually cause leaks if untreated, so you may just have to bite the bullet and have the whole radiator replaced, and with a cost between £160 and £300 for the radiator alone, you certainly won't be laughing raucously like Rusty Lee when your plumber presents you with the bill for the radiator, its installation, and the added VAT. Merry Christmas! Who's behind door number 25 of the Cold War Steve Advent Calendar? Let's have a... Oh. Why, there is no door number 25. Which means, sadly, we've come to the end of another season of Cold War Steve Advent Calendar door opening videos. So, a big thanks to Cold War Steve himself, and thanks to you for watching. But hold on a minute, who's that sitting on the top of my Christmas tree and refusing to move, in a spot that is reserved for the Christmas fairy? Why, surprise, surprise, it's our Scylla. A Merry Scyllamas, everyone. And a Happy New Year!